Hello and welcome to the Extra Inning. I'm Kirk Orndorff.
I'm Mike Zimmerman. Thanks for joining us here on this episode.
We're here for the final home game for the Hastings College baseball team, but we're out at the Smith Softball Complex, the only baseball field here. Now, the team normally plays at Duncan Field, but due to field issues, they were moved here temporarily to end the season. Our very own Dale Brooks caught up with athletic director Ian Roberts to ask why this team moved out here.
We top dress the fields every year, all the fields. We do it, other people do it. They core it, and they put in sand, and they put in what I've heard. I'm not an expert. I've heard that they put too much sand on Duncan Field, and what happened was they hoped that the grass comes up through the sand, and the grass didn't come up through the sand. Obviously, if it doesn't come up through the sand, it ends up dying. So they started this morning. It was my understanding. I haven't been out there, but obviously, we've been playing all our games out there so far this year, and you can see the sand on the infield. Again, you don't have to be a construction expert to see there's too much sand on that infield. I don't think it's hurt the play out there. But they called us last night. They called Dr. Dudley last night, Mayor Powers did, about 5 o'clock, and said we're going to have to go to Plan B, and we'll play the rest of our games out at the Smith Complex out there. You know, it's the people I feel sorry for more than anything, in addition to the person that decided to put too much sand on the field, is our seniors. You know, it would be nice to know, you know, when you're going to play your last game on your home field. You've been playing on that field for 3 3/4 years now. All of a sudden, you know, we find out on a Tuesday night that we're done on it. So, you know, for guys like Jeff Hobbs, A.J. Clark, you know, some of those seniors that have been around for 4 years, I feel bad for them that they're not going to be able to, I don't know, say goodbye to Duncan Field the way they normally would. But, you know, that I don't know if you've been out to that Smith baseball field. I mean, it's not like it's a crummy baseball field. It's a nice baseball field, but it's just not Duncan Field. And for those, I feel bad for the seniors more than anything, and Coach Bovey.
That's quite a setback for this team. Not only do they have to move all their home games out to the Smith Softball Complex, but they lose the chance to host the GPAC Conference Tournament. And that's something that you don't want to have to deal with as a player, but it seems as though the Bronco baseball team hasn't had to worry about this home field switch. Just looking at the Broncos record, HC is 13-5 in the GPAC Conference, which is good enough for second, right behind Doane College. And they are 22-17 overall on the season. And there's no doubt that the Broncos are on a roll, because out of the 5 of their last 7 games, they were able to come away with the victory.
Yeah, you're right about that. You know, every year during spring break, this team takes a trip down to Oklahoma during spring break, and you know that doesn't always result in wins, but they're playing a lot of good competition down there in Oklahoma City with some of the best teams in the country. And so, you know, that might not result in wins, but you do get that good competition. That's always great going into conference play, as you know, they dropped the first GPAC game of the year against Morningside, but then after that they won 6 straight conference games and won 9 of their first 11 in the GPAC.
The Broncos have relied on their pitching and defense to get them the success that they've seen so far this season. While HC is 6th in the conference in ERA, they also have the 4th lowest batting average against them. This Bronco pitching staff is 2nd overall in the GPAC Conference in strikeouts with 234, and they are also tied for 3rd for the least amount of walks giving up, and they are also tied for the GPAC lead with 6 shutouts as a staff. So without question, the Broncos have themselves a very solid pitching staff.
Well, that's good, because as a team, the Broncos are hitting just .266, but despite the low number, they're getting great production from the 2 seniors in the starting lineup, the switch hitting A.J. Clark and the senior catcher, Jeff Hobbs. Now, Hobbs is hitting .321 and leads the team with in RBIs with 29. Now, Clark leads the team in batting average at .328, and his on-base percentage is .460. Over the last 4 games, the Broncos have scored 22 runs, so we'll see if maybe they're starting to catch some fire here as the season winds up.
Well, it should be exciting into the season. When we come back from the break, don't forget we'll have a post-game interview with Bronco head baseball coach Jim Bovey. We'll also take a look at some of the key players for the Broncos so far this season. You're watching The Extra Inning.
recycling bin and put your pizza boxes in there, right? Wrong. You can't recycle pizza boxes.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning. I'm Mike Zimmerman.
And I'm Kirk Orndorff. Thank you for joining us. Now, even with the great conference record that the Broncos have had so far, you might not know it if you look at the stat sheet. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the key Broncos that have contributed so far this season.
For the Broncos, obviously one of their key players is going to have to be Jeff Hobbs, their starting catcher. At the plate, he leads the team in RBIs and also in hits, doubles, triples, home runs, and total bases. So we know he's got a solid bat, but where he's been also a key factor is his job behind the plate. He's been a key for the Bronco defense. He has started every game for the Broncos this season, and he has thrown out 14 potential base stealers, and he's been a great leader for the Broncos.
Now, without question, Hobbs has been a key player for the Broncos offense. However, turning the ball over, the pitching staff has been great this season, led by senior A.J. Clark. Now, Clark this season has a 5-2 record with 4 complete games, and he's got an ERA of just 2.06 and has tallied 37 strikeouts and just 5 walks in 48 innings pitched. Batters are hitting just a mere .228 against him so far in his senior season. Now, another guy that's been a strong part of the Broncos rotation is Colton Williams. He's got a record of 4-3, not the greatest record, but hitters are hitting only .219 off of him, and he's second on the team with 39 strikeouts. And not to mention, he has a no-hitter earlier this season in Kansas.
No question, the Broncos have a lot of talent on their team, Kirk, that can help them going into the conference tournament. As we stated earlier, the Broncos are ranked 2nd overall in the GPAC conference. Right behind us, they're in Game 2 of their doubleheader against Concordia. These are their final home games here at the Smith Softball Complex, and then they have a doubleheader on Saturday in Crete against the Doane Tigers, and no doubt that is a huge matchup for both teams.
Yes, Doane today is in Lincoln to play the Nebraska Wesleyan Prairie Wolves, and if the Broncos win both games of this game and the Tigers lose both games in Lincoln, the game on Saturday could determine who is going to be the first place team in the GPAC tournament. Now, if the Broncos don't change in their seeding, they would be playing Sioux Falls in the first round of the tournament. Now, in the first time these two teams met, the Broncos went 1-1, losing the first game 9-4 and winning the second game 10-5. We'll stick around because after the break, we will have an interview with head baseball coach Jim Bovey. Don't go anywhere. You're watching The Extra Inning.
Plastic bags are ugly and annoying. I'd rather use my reusable bag.
Hello and welcome back to The Extra Inning. I'm Kirk Orndorff, and joining me now is head coach Jim Bovey. Coach, thank you for joining me here today.
No problem.
And so now you guys had a great season so far, and especially in conference play, you know. So what's been the main reason for that success, do you think?
Well, I think through the first 4 or 5 weeks, it has to be our starting pitching has been strong. You know, we've won a lot of low-scoring games and have made some clutch pitches and some clutch defensive play in late innings of those games. Now, you know, the last week and a half, our pitching hasn't quite been as strong, and things have been a little shakier for us. But you know, we're still going into Saturday with a chance to win this thing. And you know, an old mentor of mine said, if you get to the last day of the season, you still got a chance to win the title. You know, that's about all you can ask for. So, hoping that we can put it together for one more Saturday.
Yeah, and so right now you guys are second in the conference. Is that something that the team is maybe paying attention to as the season goes on?
Well, yeah, you know, and Doane's led from start to finish, you know, so we've always kind of known that we got to try to hold things together and hope that we get to this Saturday and that we're playing for something. But, you know, the conference champion automatically qualifies for the national playoffs, so I mean that's your goal the entire year, and until you're mathematically eliminated, that you keep focusing on that, and then if you are eliminated, then you start thinking about the tournament, because you know, the tournament champion also has a chance to go on to the national tournament. But you know, right now we're focused on trying to get healed up for Saturday, and hope our pitchers are on and that we can put some hits together, because Doane's going to be a tough challenge for us.
All right, so now going back a little bit into the season, the city shuts down Duncan. Kind of what was the mood like between you, the other coaches, and some of the players when you found out that you had to play the rest of the season here?
I was really concerned about it. The first day or two, I thought our players were even more down about it than I thought they would be. I knew they'd be discouraged. I think it helped that we didn't have a game right away that was scheduled for Duncan, that we had a turnaround. And, boy, here we're at Smith, we could be at Duncan. I think the Mount Marty one kind of got us over the hump just because of the fact that we could tell ourselves we're not playing at Smith instead of Duncan, we're playing at Smith instead of Yankton. And that kind of got us through. But the ironic thing is they still haven't sodded Duncan. Because of the weather, they haven't been able to cut the sod. So we could have actually finished our season at Duncan this year because, we were playing on it. We judged it to be playable. It did not look good. But, they made the powers that be made the decision. And I don't think that had an effect on the second game tonight or the second game on Friday. But I think we're fortunate there was a little time lag before we had to make the move.
Okay, and Jeff Hobbs, he's had a big impact offensively and is the anchor at defense, being behind the plate. What's it like having a guy who you can depend on like that?
Well, we've been very fortunate to have him, that we've kept him healthy this year. And I was telling a couple of the assistants today that, we've had guys who are probably better players than Jeff, had more natural ability. And we've had guys that, number-wise, have put up better numbers than he has. I don't know that in my 22 years I've ever had a guy that I expected more and asked more out of in a season than he has, and then I've asked him. 43 games in, and he's caught all but 4 innings. That's pretty unheard of. And the game is 9-4, and we don't look like we have a chance, and he is still going out and blocking pitches in the dirt and trying to do the things he needs to. So, he's been the mainstay for us, and obviously our pitchers have a lot of confidence throwing to him and bounce pitches up there, and he makes the plays. So, he's kind of, as you say about Reggie Jackson, he's kind of the straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah. All right. So, is there any areas, maybe on or off the field, that you feel that you need to improve before the tournament starts?
Well, I think we're still very inconsistent offensively. I think we get ourselves out a lot tonight. You look at, we had 2 at bats where we went down on strikes and didn't swing at any of the 3. And so I think we need to be more competitive from at bat to at bat. And in the second game, I think all of us thought if we get 1 run, AJ will shut him down, but we didn't get that run to give him that chance. And then, of course, they started hitting the ball. So I think we just need to be more competitive with our bats.
And what do you think maybe you can do to help them be more competitive?
Well, I think a lot of them don't focus on the at bat and the situation. When you get a runner on third, less than 2 outs, you don't want to pop up to second. You want to, if the infield's back, you want to hit that ground ball. You want to hit a pitch early in the count that is not a pitcher's pitch. And that's sometimes hard because, if you're an aggressive hitter, the natural thing is not to lay off pitches, but sometimes you have to lay off pitches in order to get something better. Okay,
now how do you keep the team motivated to finish the season strong?
Well, it's a lot easier when you have a chance to win the league title. So I guess my approach going into Saturday is if I got to motivate them for Saturday, they shouldn't be playing college athletics. Now, we dropped the first one on Saturday, then we're going to have to step in and try to do some motivating because they know what's at stake. They know we lose one, it's done. So I think when things are going well, you're less worried about motivating a team than when things are going poorly.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach Bovey, for hanging out with us tonight, and we wish you the best of the team. Wish you and the team the best of luck and on the rest of the season. And that is going to do it for this episode of The Extra Inning. For Mike Zimmerman and the rest of the HCTV staff, I'm Kirk Orndorff. Thank you for watching. Now, since the interview earlier, the Broncos swept a doubleheader over Doane, 4-2 and 3-2. And in the second game, the Broncos got a key home run from Jeff Hobbs to make it a 3-2 ball game in the 7th inning. Now that forced a 3-way tie atop of the conference, and because of the GPAC tiebreakers, the Broncos get the first place in the conference, and they earned that automatic berth into the national tournament. So congratulations to the baseball team, and good luck as you go on into the national tournament. For Mike Zimmerman, Coach Bovey, and all the production staff, this is Kirk Orndorff. Thanks for watching.
Flash that buttery gold, jittery zeitgeist with by the watering hole. Water patrol, water we the heart, how could be art buckery suddenly? Not enough young and as long for the water wing, colorfully vulgar poacher at a mulch like I'ma put a post at a soldier.
How cool is that juggling? If you would like to juggle with those same cups, or use any of the dishes of the Plate Project at your next event, contact a Seek member. The dishes on the Plate Project are available free of charge.
The Plate Project. These are cups.